check you.
We're
Ready?
Ready.
Good evening. It's 5:30 on Wednesday, October 23rd, and I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls City School District Board of Education. Ms. Stoikoy, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Coco?
Here.
Mr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Thank you. Item B is approval of the agenda. Number 1 is a motion to approve the agenda. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the agenda of the October 23rd, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Action by the Board of Education and adoption of a consent agenda means that all items are adopted by one singular motion, unless a member of the Board of Education, Treasurer, or Superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Thank you. Item C is our opening ceremony. Number 1 is our informational items. This meeting is a meeting with the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not a public community meeting, although there are opportunities for public participation. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic found on the meeting agenda, the individual must complete a registration form found inside the attendance notebook and present it to the treasurer. Following the introduction of the topic by the board president, followed by board discussion, the individual will be recognized. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic not found on the meeting agenda, they must notify the superintendent and/or board president of the topic no later than 3 business days in advance of the meeting. These individuals may share their comments during the board business portion of the agenda. In both cases, the individual will preface comments by announcement of their name and address and limit comments to 3 minutes. All statements should be directed to the board president. No person may address or question board members individually. In addition, in public session, the board will not hear complaints about school personnel nor against any person connected with the school system. An unabridged board agenda for this meeting can be found on your electronic device and the address shown on the screen. And for your convenience, hard copies of the board agenda may be found on the table by the sign-in book. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education is November 6, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. right here in the Cuyahoga Falls High School Library. Now for our Pledge of Allegiance, and welcome, Ms. White.
Good evening, everybody. If you'll stand, if you're able, and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Welcome. Our vision, Cuyahoga Falls City Schools, the hub of our community, committed to a culture of caring. We innovate, we create, we personalize education for all. Our mission, every student, every day, every opportunity. The board's 4 strategic plan goals are as follows. School safety. We aspire to have a welcoming environment that ensures that the physical and social well-being needs of every student and staff member are met. Academic growth. We aspire to have significant growth through personalized education for all students. We aspire to improve graduation rates so that our students are prepared for employment, enrollment, or enlistment. Engagement, inclusion, and diversity. We will ensure that every student has access to resources they need when they need it in order to be successful. And finally, technology and systems integration. We aspire to create safe, secure, and efficient technology systems to support high-quality teaching, learning, and district operations.
Thank you, Ms. White. Item D is our presentations. Tonight we have 5 presentations, and first up is our Friend of Education Award. This award's a very important award because we try so hard to honor our students who do great things every day, and then our staff members who help our students do great things. But so many people in our community outside of our schools help our schools be able to do these great things. So our Friend of Education Award honors those people that go above and beyond in the community to help assist us, and so we're so honored to get to honor one of them tonight. I'd like to invite up Mrs. Holly Merkel, our Coordinator of Student Wellness and Success, to take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be here tonight to recognize Mrs. Sarah Jensen as our Friend of Education recipient. Sarah, will you please come to the podium? This award, established by the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education, aims to acknowledge the remarkable volunteer service of individuals, businesses, organizations, or groups that make significant contributions to our school district. The recipients dedicate their time, energy, and resources to uplift our schools and students. Sarah is perfect for this award, and she's no stranger to Cuyahoga Falls City Schools. As a proud graduate of the class of 1994, she has consistently shown her commitment to our community through her involvement with various organizations such as the Elks and Collide Cuyahoga Falls. Through her leadership in these organizations, she has prioritized giving back to our Black Tiger family. For example, during the pandemic, she played a pivotal role in helping to purchase water filling stations for the high school, ensuring that our students had access to safe hydration. About a year ago, I received an email from Sarah expressing the Elks' desire to continue to support our district. At the time, we were in the early stages of planning for the Black Tiger Family Center. We invited her to the initial planning meeting, and after just that one meeting, I think she almost immediately went home and wrote a grant for us. And within a week, we received a $6,000 grant from the Cuyahoga Falls Elks to help open our family center. But Sarah's support didn't stop there. She continued to attend our planning meetings and leveraged her community contacts to build our valuable partnerships. She even rode along on the school bus with us this summer as we went to collect items from our summer donation drive. Her tireless efforts and the relationships she has fostered have been instrumental in getting the Family Center up and running. Week after week, Sarah and I have collaborated, and I cannot express how grateful I am for her unwavering dedication. She has helped us problem solve barriers and continually brainstorms ways to help us with sustainability and to make sure all of our families' needs are met. In closing, I want to emphasize just how invaluable our friends of education are to our community. Schools simply can't do it alone. It is people like Sarah that are champions for public education and unselfishly dedicate their time and energy to ensure our district has the necessary supports to support every Black Tiger student. Let's give a warm round of applause again for Sarah Jensen. She is a true friend of education.
Thank you, everybody. I have to say, I was president of our Elks Lodge for 4 years, and they sent me away to this convention every year. We had to go to these workshops and learn about these grants, and they want to do good in the community. And that's the cool thing about what we do at our Elks Lodge is you might do this or that and not realize that 35% of that goes to this charity, or that's all being donated, or you just don't even know, and you're just smiles and laughter, abound in our lodge. So it's really cool. I will say our current president right now is Troy Snyder right here. I have a table here filled with Elks. My husband Eric, Sue Tar, Russ Iona. Part of what we really love is giving back, and especially to this amazing team of people who do so much for their community. Even Holly was talking today about a family in the Family Center today, just really seeing some opportunities and what was there to offer and making them whole in a very respectful and awesome way. So if we can continue to do that, we will. We love Cuyahoga Falls High School and the Cuyahoga Falls School District. You're in our backyards, and just truly thank you for even giving us the opportunity, Dr. Selico and team and Holly and everyone, for letting us be a part of all the amazing things you all do. So thank you for this award very, very much.
I want to point out, Ms. Coco is also a member of the Elks Lodge, so our own board member. I get to embarrass her. And then I also want to point out, this is a special Friend of Education award because it's the first time we've had someone accept the award twice, because Sarah Jensen was president of the Elks when we honored the Elks with this award, and she came here to receive it, but we were trying to find a way because she has done so much, so we decided we had to give her the award herself. So it's very special to get to honor her. Yes. Next is our Top Tigers recognition. I'll invite up Dr. Salco.
It's like a party we have going on here. My goodness, this is a lot of people. Woo, I'm nervous. No, I'm really not. I'm just teasing. I'm excited, and it's warm in here, so I'm not sure what. This is our first presentation for the year, so I've got to like dust off the cobwebs, which is perfect timing because it's Halloween's right around the corner, so it's all fitting, right? So my name is Andrea Solico. I'm the superintendent of schools, my third year here in the district, and excited to be here. And want to just begin by telling you a little bit. We're going a little out of order this evening, and it was intentional. It wasn't an accident. We've moved up our top Tigers, they were second in order, and we're going to ask you to stay for 2 short presentations after that, and then afterwards we need you to hang around because we need to get pictures, and Sarah, we need to get your picture, and everyone else who's awarded this evening. So just hang tight. It will go quickly, but really, it's a really fun evening for our students. So just to tell you a little bit about Top Tiger, it's an award given by our Board of Education to students from each building each month. The students are chosen by various staff members in their buildings, and I get the honor of reading about each one of them this evening. I'm going to ask that when I announce the student's name, so students, I need you to listen carefully, all right? I'm going to call your name. You're going to come forward. You're going to stand here. We're going to embarrass you a little bit. We're going to talk about you. You're going to get some goodies from Mr. Harris, who's going to be my helper this evening. And then afterwards, you're going to come over here. Miss Stewart's making all this noise back here. You're going to get a picture right here as well. So get your stuff, come over here. Miss Stewart will get your picture. And then afterwards, we're going to get a group photo. So then we'll have you sit back down. In addition, you're also going to get, I don't know that it's here. Is it here in front of me? Okay. An amazing sign for either your front yard or your window, whatever you prefer. And that is a special thanks to our CFEA, which is our Teachers Association. Our president is here this evening with us. Miss Carlisle, where are you? You're back. Oh, usually in the back. Oh, way in the back. Okay. Oh, there she is. Right on cue, Mrs. Carlisle. So thank you to you and your organization for providing those. And then also we have a number of generous community sponsors that also donate to this cause. The Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association being one of them. So we're thankful to all our partners who help recognize our student success. And at this time, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Beth McNichols. McNicholas is here, and she's going to say a few words about the foundation. And then we'll get started. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Beth McNicholas. I'm a board member for the Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation. And if some of you don't know what the Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation is, you should keep in mind, especially when your child reaches senior year, because our major goal is to provide scholarships for graduating seniors. Some of you are nodding your heads like, yeah, you've had a child go through that. But last year, we gave over $150,000 in scholarships for about 56 different students. So it's well worth the time in December for your child to go on and fill the online application out because there's a lot of scholarships available for them. We also do teacher grants, and we help connect alumni by assisting with class reunions and class websites. We also recognize distinguished alumni, and we host a recognition program and a reception in May as we give out scholarships for our distinguished alumni also. But tonight is really special because we have so many great kids getting the Top Tiger Award. Congratulations to them. So once all of those have been presented, you're going to have a seat like Dr. Selico said. Then once we have everybody together, we'll go over to the cafeteria. You'll be awarded a t-shirt and a folder. Make sure you look in the folder. There's lots of fun stuff in there. And hang on to that t-shirt because if your child wants to march in the Memorial Day Parade, all they have to do is form up by Immaculate Heart, wear their t-shirt, and they're automatically in the parade, which is always a fun thing. So congratulations to the students that are getting it, and we'll look to see you over there to get your t-shirt. Thank you.
All right. The moment of truth, here we are. I'm going to mess things up again, intentionally. We have to go out of order again this evening. So those of you principals who you expect, who do I normally start with? Let's hear it. Yep, we're not starting with you tonight. We are starting with our high school because we have one student who has to skedaddle, and I told him I would make accommodations. We're not pointing you out or anything, Joey. So we're gonna start with the high school, and calling forward our first student, first top Tiger of the year, Joseph Aloisi. So come on up. Okay. Joey is an integral part of the Performing Arts Department at Cuyahoga Falls High School, participating in band, choir, and drama activities. From the spring musical to marching band to a cappella choir to the one-act play festival to symphonic band, Joey does it all. His positive attitude, strong work ethic, wonderful sense of humor, and quiet leadership are a welcome addition to every organization he participates in. Joey is well respected by his peers and has the unique ability to successfully collaborate with just about anybody. The teachers in the Performing Arts Department are proud of all he has accomplished in his high school career and are looking forward to all of his future successes after high school. We are very grateful we have gotten to work with Joey over the years, and we are happy to recognize him for all his contributions to the performing arts at Cuyahoga Falls High School. Congratulations. All right, good. Joey's followed directions so far. He should. He's a senior in high school. All right. Next, we have Layla Peterson. If you have read the classic children's book or seen the movie Harold and the Purple Crayon, oh, we read that regularly in my home, you will be familiar with the power and magic of one's imagination. In the story, Harold literally brings his ideas to life with that purple crayon, making art that ignites joy and wonder. Who thinks they know who wrote this? Anybody that knows ours? Some of our teachers know. Is this Ms. Schulman? No? You're thinking it is? I'm thinking it is too. Sounds like her writing. Our very own Layla Peterson, we suspect, secretly wields the power of a purple crayon in her own way. She is an avid artist, always finding a way to be constantly creating, activating her imagination while inspiring those around her with her contagious smile. Layla is quiet and humble, while at the same time she does not hesitate to take on the hard tasks that others try to avoid. Layla balances multiple clubs, AP courses, the running of her very own business, selling her art, and her many leadership roles, including the president of student council, treasurer of the senior class, publicist of Interact, principal chair for the band, a student guest artist at the 2024 Art Walk, and Layla is also a member of National Honor Society, Art Club, and Soups Troops. Yep. Layla will undoubtedly make an unforgettably positive mark on our world. The CFHS Art Department couldn't be more proud to recognize Layla Peterson as a top Tiger. All right, we're going backwards this evening. We're going to recognize BOLIC students next. So our first student from BOLIC is Brandon Ortiz. Brandon. All right. Well, you know what? We will recognize Brandon at our next meeting. We'll try to get him in here. So congratulations to Brandon. We'll read about him next meeting. Our next student is Chloe Wilson. Chloe? Oh my goodness, we're 0 for 2 at BOLIC. All right, we will work on that. But congratulations to Chloe. We will get with them and hopefully they can come to the next one. All right, moving along to Roberts. We have Larry Tripp Johnson. I can't wait to meet Larry. Where's Larry? Larry Johnson, are you a basketball player? Wasn't that a basketball player like years ago? All right, who's my age, all right? Right? Larry Johnson, Boston Celtics, maybe? Am I right? Who is it? Oh, all right, Charlotte Hornets. I don't know. I was just reading your name today, and I was like, all right, I got to meet this guy. All right, Tripp. Why do they call you Tripp?
Because I'm the third Johnson. I mean, Larry and their family.
Oh, it's not going to be Tripp a lot, so that's good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, Tripp. Let's hear about Tripp. Tripp has started off middle school strong. The 6th grade team appreciates how he shows BTP each and every day. Mrs. Carr said Tripp is a quiet leader whose strength is leading by example. He is a valued member of our class in social studies and works cooperatively very well. I have noticed him in the hallways also helping his peers, and he is so kind. Ms. Schindler loves how self-motivated he is and how he sings when he works independently. All right. Ms. Barker said Tripp goes out of his way to tell me good morning pretty much every day. I would describe him as a very genuine and respectful young man. He is always the first to volunteer in class and ask a question when he doesn't understand something. That's good. Lastly, Mr. McKay wanted to add that Tripp is just a great guy and he makes our classes better because he's there. Tripp, all your teachers agree, you are a top Tiger all the way. All right. Our next student from Roberts is Ann Trida. Ann? Oh, there she is. Ann, how are you today? Good? All right, Ann. Okay. So Ann, I am told, is a joy to have in the classroom. Great start. She is an attentive, detail-oriented student who always strives to do her very best. She is also kind and thoughtful towards both staff and students. Ann is extremely respectful and truly exudes Black Tiger pride. Congratulations. All right, now we're moving on to DeWitt. All right, you ready, Miss Scala? All right, our first student is Ava Bailey. Ava? Oh, right in front. Ava is a sweet and hardworking young lady. She is a terrific communicator and works hard to offer a helping hand to both her teachers and her classmates. She continually shows Black Tiger pride no matter where she is and always shows kindness and compassion to those around her. Congratulations. All right, our next student is Tyson Clegg. Tyson? Tyson? Okay, you're not related to Mike Tyson, are you? Okay, good. All right. I'm showing my age all evening. All right, Tyson is a kind, confident young man who exemplifies the Black Tiger attitude. He is always ready and willing to put his best foot forward and helps to support his classmates who need help. His cheery disposition and loving heart make him a wonderful addition to any classroom, and we are lucky to have him here at DeWitt Elementary. So sweet. Going to move on to Lincoln. Our first student, I hope I get this name right, Grace Carocchio. Oh, yeah, woo! That applause was for me, right? That I got it right? Just clarifying. I did. Yes, score. Oh, and I got it right. Woo! All right, well, people call me Dr. Seuss, so yeah, they do, first graders. All right, Grace. Where are you going? Come on over here. Let's see your beautiful face. There you go. Grace is an absolute joy to have at Lincoln. She always comes to class with a smile on her face and is excited to learn. She is quite creative, but most importantly, she is a careful, thoughtful, and enthusiastic helper who takes her Black Tiger pride seriously. She is always one of the first in her class to show respect to her teachers and classmates. She takes responsibility by coming to her essentials class ready to learn, giving her best effort in all aspects of class, and is always willing to lend a helping hand to those who are in need. Grace always stops in to check with her teachers to make sure they are having a great day. She wants everyone to feel loved and accepted at Lincoln. She exhibits all the qualities of a true top Tiger. So congratulations. All right. Our next student at Lincoln is Arthur Gayton. Do I get a high five? All right, thank you. All right. Whew. It's a lot of pressure to get these names right, Arthur. I'm not kidding. Ooh, I'm sweating. All right. Oh, wait. Whoa, I passed you right up. My goodness. I'm sorry, Arthur. All right. Arthur is Black Tiger pride and has demonstrated impressive character throughout his years at Lincoln. He is kind, polite, respectful, and helpful with both teachers and peers. Arthur is a model of behavior, both in and out of the classroom. He demonstrates a maturity above that of a typical fifth grader and radiates leadership in all he does. Arthur is a gifted musician, specifically as a pianist. His skill and attention to detail in his music brings his ideas to the next level. Arthur is also a member of Lincoln's flag team, taking on the responsibility of raising both our U.S. and Black Tiger flags daily with a small group of his peers. The Essentials team at Lincoln is proud to nominate Arthur as one of our top Tigers. I think you should bow, Arthur. You deserve it. All right, our next school, Preston, and our first student at Preston is Ariel Ake. All right, the fourth grade team is so excited, I see him back there, to have Ari in class this year. She enters the classroom every day with a smile on her face and a positive attitude. Ari not only works hard to do her best each day, she is always quick to help anyone who needs it. Ari is a little Black Tiger cheerleader, nice, and she makes us proud on the field too as she works hard to encourage others. Principal Brown has seen Ari grow so much while she has been at Preston and is so proud of how far she has come. Keep up the great work, Ari. Before I go on to the next student, I just want to recognize for our families that are here this evening, we have a number of our principals come every month, and we have a number of staff members that are here to cheer on your students. So I think we should give them a round of applause. Thank you for coming. We do appreciate it, and so do your students. All right, our next student at Preston is Caden Worthington. Caden is an amazing young man in so many ways. He is helpful to his teachers and to his fellow students. He participates often each day and cares about his learning. He strives to do his best and makes sure his work is excellent when he turns it in. Mr. O, the Preston PE teacher, appreciates that Caden is always reliable and respectful in class. Caden plans to play baseball in the spring, and we have no doubt he will excel in that as well. Principal Brown remembers the day of kindergarten, ooh, we're going to embarrass you, when Caden started Preston, and she could not be prouder of him and how far he has come. Oh, no juicy stories. I'll ask Principal Brown tomorrow. Keep up the great work, Caden. Good job. Okay, our next school, we're going to head to Price. We have Amira Ruby. Amira always brings enthusiasm and effort to school, and her curiosity and inquisitiveness elevate the dialogue in her classes. She is a caring and thoughtful friend to the people around her, and she is quick to help anyone who needs support. Amira shows amazing sportsmanship, is a fabulous singer and artist, and she is selected to be in the Cuyahoga Falls Elementary Honor Choir as a fourth grader. Congratulations. This year, she is helping the younger students as a room guide, and she is participating in her school choir at Price. Amira serves as a great example of going above and beyond to show Black Tiger pride. Congratulations. Okay, we're getting towards the end. We have our students from Price, and our second student is Pranish Ramal. Pranish is a student who shows Black Tiger pride each and every day. He strives to do his very best and is always willing to assist a fellow classmate in need. Pranish is the first to volunteer when a teacher requests a hand and is always ready to try new things. Pranish has shown incredible strength and resilience even after facing difficult times this past year. His courage and determination are truly inspiring. With his kind, quiet demeanor, positive attitude, good sportsmanship, and leadership skills, Pranish is a true role model and a student we are proud to nominate for Top Tiger. All right, moving to Richardson. Our first student is Maloney Batarai. Maloney Maloney is a beacon of light in our school. She comes to class every day with a smile and positive attitude. She has a great sense of humor and always gives 100% in all of her classes. Maloney enjoys playing soccer outside of school and says her favorite thing about Richardson is her teachers and how they are patient and always willing to help. The specials team is proud to recognize Maloney as a Richardson Top Tiger. I know, I'm tired too, I know. It's a long day. We're almost done. All right, our next student from Richardson is James Hutchinson. James. I love seeing so many people out there, so many young ones. It's so sweet. Cute little ones. Whoa. All right, James, ready? All right. James is a soft-spoken leader at Richardson Elementary School. James is a leader by example who is always showing Black Tiger pride. James is caring of others and a student you can always count on to do the right thing. James is an active student athlete playing travel basketball and soccer and is a model student athlete both on and off the field. We look forward to see what the future holds for James. The specials team is proud to recognize James as a Richardson Top Tiger. All right, our final school, Silver Lake. All right, our last elementary. Our first student is Amelia McKenney. It's a long walk. It's like a maze, isn't it, Amelia? Yeah. I know, it's like one of those corn mazes you go through. I just got lost last week in one. True story. My kids made it out before me, by far. All right. Ready, Amelia? All right. Amelia is such a pleasure to have in class. She is a helper, a leader, and a friend to all. It is clear Amelia loves to learn, and she makes our days better. She demonstrates Black Tiger pride in everything she does, and she always has a smile on her face. All right, I caught you. All right, you didn't know what I was going to say. All right, our last student of the evening is Tony Williams. We are so glad Tony has joined the Silver Lake family this year. She is a joy, those are in big letters, joy to have in music, art, and PE. Tony is kind to everyone, participates with enthusiasm, and leads by example. She is creative, patient, and trustworthy. We know we can count on Tony to show Black Tiger pride in all she does. All right. Well, congratulations to all of our students, and we know family, parents, those of us who are here this evening know that this doesn't happen by chance. You all have done obviously an exceptional job in raising your children, and we thank you for all that you have done. So let's have a round of applause for our families. All right, so I'm going to ask you to hang tight for just a few more minutes, and then when it's time, we will all go across the hall for some recognition and our more prizes. I believe I heard a shirt and some in our picture, our group picture. And families, you can also get pictures then as well. Before we move along, and I'm glad there are people here from our schools this evening, because one thing I neglected to do was to tell the principals. I kind of didn't really want to tell them because I was going to surprise them, but then I really wanted some of their staff to be here. So you're representing, so those of you who are here from the schools this evening, you can go back and say that you were all going to be recognized this evening. So I just want to point out a few things. Mrs. Hausman is our assistant superintendent, and she and I have been talking about the accomplishments and the progress we have made over the course of the past year. And oftentimes we are measured by our report card. You've heard about the infamous report card. And many people, when they're making selections on where they're going to live or choose to send their children to school, will reference the report card. And frankly, it makes sense to do so. I, as a parent, would have and would continue to do the same. But we also know that so much more goes on in our schools outside of that report card. And so tonight, while I want to share just a few highlights of our report card, I also want to tell you about some other things in which we have many things to be proud of here in our district. So with that said, our high school This year overall, I should start there, as a district, we improved. We went up from 2.5 to 3 stars out of 5, so we did show some growth, and we're happy about that. We also improved. There are 6 categories on our report card.
Dr.
We-
Falco,
Yes.
why don't you invite the principals to come up?
Oh, okay, as soon as I'm done with this sentence, okay? The other point that I was going to make is that we had 4 out of 6 categories, because we're judged on 6 categories on our report card. We showed improvement in 4 of the 6, and the other 2, we remained the same. So we did not show any decreases in achievement, so we're proud of that accomplishment. Okay, I can have the principals come up. Would you like to come up? Yes, come
Yes.
up.
To be
And
recognized.
staff, I'm sorry, we'll have you stand as we say your school as well, but come on. Oh,
Principals.
don't all come at one time.
Yeah, shine.
Just come on up. Yeah.
As a board, along with our administration, we wanted to take time to recognize, as we hear at Top Tigers, you hear all the opportunities that are provided in our buildings each day. And our buildings are led by our principals, along with our teachers who help through our building leadership teams and the leadership they provide in each of their classrooms each day. So we want to share some of the successes we're seeing, because it's so important to hear about the great things that happen each day and to recognize the people that lead those charges in our buildings each day.
We have one principal I know, that a couple that are out ill and were unable to make it this evening. But we'll start with our high school. So Mr. Smith is our high school principal, and our high school this year received 3 stars overall, and they also improved in 4 out of the 6 criteria on the report card. So we're proud of their improvements. At Bolick, and Mr. Oswald was unable to be here this evening, but I want to recognize, and I'm sorry, is any high school staff here tonight? I don't know if I saw any high school. Lucas works at the high school. And Bolick, anyone from Bolick this evening? I'm sure. Oh, yes, Ms. Carlisle, our president. She's a math teacher over at Bolick. But we wanted to recognize them for their, they received a PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Intervention Supports, a bronze award, which means that they have worked very hard to promote positive behavior in the schools. And they also had a 50% reduction in classroom referrals if you compared it from last year to this year, the same time frame. That's actually great news. So let's have a round of applause for that. Roberts, Mrs. Houchin, and Mrs. Early, who is the principal there, will be returning there. Mrs. Houchin was unable to come. She's one who's sick. But at Roberts, we have shown improvement in the progress growth measure. They have grown a lot, which means that measure shows that we are growing students. So that's an important measure, because children, when they come to us, are learning. So congratulations to them. DeWitt, did anybody hear from, is anyone here from Roberts? Okay. And DeWitt, I know, who's here from DeWitt? Anybody? Mrs. Ricker was here, yeah. So Mrs. Scala is our principal there. Oh, there we go. All right, representing. DeWitt had 4.5 stars overall, again, out of 5, which is amazing. And they had 4 stars in that progress measure, which is another important one. And they, too, won the PBIS Bronze Award. So congratulations. Lincoln, anyone from Lincoln here this evening? Okay, good. Nice. And the students, yeah, good credit. All right. Oh, Mrs. Hall? We've switched schools and they're confusing me now. So Mrs. Hall is at Lincoln. They received the PBIS Bronze Star Award as well, and they were also recognized for the Purple Heart recognition. And those are really some things that take a lot of work to apply for, and they received that award. Preston Elementary, we have Principal Brown, and anyone else from, oh yeah, I know. A shy group in the back. Improved, and that's not surprising with Principal Brown at the helm. So they improved from 3 stars last year to 3.5 stars this year, and so we're proud of their progress as well, so congratulations. Price, anyone from Price? With Mrs. Wyckoff? Yep, coach. Oh, yeah. Not quite as rowdy as Preston, but stars out of 5, as well as a 4-star out of 5 on progress, which is again that important measure. So congratulations. All right, Silver Lake is actually Mr. Dolka, but Mrs. Early has been filling in for Mr. Dolka because he just had a baby boy, so he's very proud of that and enjoying parenthood. But is anyone from Silver Lake here? Oh, there we go. All right. We are proud to announce that they had a 4-star overall rating, so we are proud of them as well. And lastly, we have Richardson, which is Mrs. Turlone. And anybody from Richardson? Yep, all right. Yep, all right, you got it, buddy, you're right. Okay, so Richardson had 4 stars overall, also had 4 stars in progress. They were also named last year, and I should credit also Mrs. Hall, who was there last year, with the Hall of Fame recognition, which was a big deal. And also they received the PBIS Bronze Award as well, so congratulations to them. All right. Anything else anyone want to say or be embarrassed anymore? No? Okay. All right. Thank you. Good work. Congratulations. Proud of the work we do. We are all about steady, slow progress because slow and steady wins the race, and that's what I believe in. So very proud of the work that we are doing this year and the improvements we've made. So keep it up. We won't be complacent. We will continue to work hard and improve even more. Thank you. I think that's it for me.
Yes. We have one last, but not least, presentation before we go across the hall for pictures. It's our Staff Star Award, and I'll invite up Ms. Allison Bogdan, our Director of Human Resources.
Congratulations to all the top Tigers and community. So last but not least, every month, we've been doing this for years, we honor a staff member that has made a positive impact on our school system, obviously. And the unique thing about this is that colleagues are the ones that nominate this person. So for the first one of this year, the winner of the Staff Star Award, I'm going to ask her to come up, is Siobhan Considine. And she has been, come on up, she has been nominated. She was nominated by 2 people, Peggy Whitcomb and also Ryan Hutch. And Ryan Hutch, I'm going to ask you to come up, and he is going to say a few words about her. So congratulations.
Good evening. Siobhan is our administrative assistant for the technology and security departments and also helps with the maintenance and operations departments as well. And she was nominated by 2 people. I'll read Mrs. Whitcomb, who couldn't be here. She's another one of our administrative assistants. I'll read what she wrote first, and then I'll add what I have to say. So Peggy says, I would like to nominate Siobhan Considine to be recognized as a staff shining star. From her hire date, she has truly hit the ground running. She is very organized and efficient. She is kind to all staff members. She has helped the Human Resources Department as our point of contact for activating staff ID badges and works with our tech staff to keep an updated and well-run identification system. She is the go-to person at the Operations Center as she understands all aspects of the location, operations, technology, maintenance, and transportation. And she does it all with a smile. And then I'll add, well, it's 80% true. Then I'll say, I'm writing to recommend Ms. Considine for the Staff Star Award. As the administrative assistant for the technology and security departments, she has consistently demonstrated exceptional skills, dedication, and a positive attitude that have significantly improved our team's efficiency and customer service. She's organized, and her attention to detail are unmatched. She juggles the numerous tasks required to run 2 departments while at the same time keeping our entire team organized and equipped with whatever we need. She interacts professionally with our staff and parents alike and can uphold the department standards with all stakeholders. In addition to the work she does supporting technology and security, she's often the first go-to person to support other departments' needs. She can talk her colleagues through their questions and works collaboratively with others far beyond her basic job expectations. She's often behind the scenes, but her work helps make this district work. Her contributions to our department go far beyond her job description, and her exceptional performance, dedication, and positive influence make her an ideal candidate for the Staff Star Award. Thank you.
now we will go across the hall and get our pictures. What was it email about that? So that was shown again. Back, and we are ready for presentation number 5, preschool proposal. Dr. Selico and Mrs. Hausman.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Board, as you know, we have been working for a couple of years now, talking about preschool. I think you all know I'm passionate about it and firm believer, not just in my own gut, but research, backing that up in evidence and research that, the impacts, positive impacts that preschool has on learning and future success. So we have, as you know, we have 4 classes at Shanae Learning Center, and we're in a consortium with the ESC. And what we would like to do is propose to you this evening that we move away from the consortium and that we take preschool on within the district. And in doing so, would like to entertain, right now we have 4 integrated classrooms, whereas there are special needs students in those classrooms, and then there are what they refer to as typical peers as well. So they are, obviously having positive role models, and then getting all the services that our children need. So we have visited, as you know, I've also visited Shanae numerous times. Mrs. Siemens has been there, some other members of our staff, there are students, even though they're in the consortium, there still are Cuyahoga Falls students. So we certainly want to keep an eye and make sure that they're getting the best education that they can. So we visit and have had a great working relationship with the consortium, but I feel it's time that we look to bring preschool back to our district for numerous reasons that we'll go into. So with that said, I'm gonna turn it over to Mrs. Hausman. We'll probably tag team this a little bit. So she's gonna walk you through the work that we did, and I'll probably chime in as needed, but Ms. Hausman, if you'd like.
So, probably last year, we began just kind of reviewing some opportunities. So we looked at current preschool programs in the community. We also looked at other public school district preschool programs. It's almost impossible to do an apples to apples comparison because there's different days, different amount of time, different tuition costs between some of the private preschool programs and ours. But so we just thought we would just kind of continue with what we have, and we reviewed different types of tuition costs. And so it's very important to Dr. Sells to make it very affordable for families. So that's part of the proposal, to make it affordable and equitable for families that are interested. To really know if we can support general education programs, we would send a survey. So if the board said, yeah, we want you to kind of consider moving forward with this and pursue it, then we would put that survey out and see if we can add 2 general education preschool programs at Shanae. And because the consortium owns the resources in the classrooms, we would have a one-time cost of outfitting those classrooms. So that would be furniture, games, playscapes, all those types of things. Curriculum, there is, the state does present a list of preschool curriculum for choices that we would use as guidance with that as well. So the biggest part of our work that will take the majority of this year is the STEM quality proposal and getting that ready for the state of Ohio. Now, the state of Ohio has changed their standards recently and changing STEM quality requirements. They're actually making it a little bit simpler so that there will be more preschool programs across the state of Ohio. So they're trying to expand it and make it, just an easier process. So we're kind of in this precarious situation where they're kind of switching over from the old model to the new. So we've identified Ms. Houchin as someone who can support us. She's done all this work previously, and so she can help guide us doing some of this stuff with the quality work. We could go through some of the financial pieces.
Yeah, I think so, if you want to talk through the
So
second
we
page.
looked at like a beginning year FTE for a teacher or assistant, and that does include benefits with that cost. So it would be, and then you can see the one-time cost of furniture and materials in the classroom. There may be some assistance through attrition or people that we can transfer to
how much do we pay the E ESC?
We paid them like outright at
1.3.
1.25
Yeah.
like last year. However, we do get, as part of our state funding, there's specific, it's not restricted funding, but it is based on preschool students. And so that's that 380 you see in both, things. So you could put it in there both ways, or you don't have to. It's gonna be the same net result at the end.
The 380?
Yeah. So like, you take that, that's the kind of the funding we already get. We technically got funded for, we paid out of our own pocket, non-funded, that 869, which would be the same thing that she's showing above, is that it would cost us about 1.3, but offset that 380, just like we do to the ESC right now. And plus the tuition, and you get 774.
And that cost includes proposed 2 general education preschool classrooms. So you're getting a little bit more, you're getting more services to families under our model. So,
What's the breakdown of the 869?
well, Mrs. Joy.
That is what we pay the ESC right now. So they do theirs based on the consortium. They come up with a cost per student per day now. And then they take the number of students that we have in the program times that daily rate and how many days that they attended. So if they withdrew throughout the year, obviously it's a proration. And then that's what they charge us. They give us a credit for the rooms, basically like the building. It's not very much. It's like $20,000. And then we send right now, and we wouldn't in this case, but right now we send about $20,000 that we get in federal preschool funding in a grant. We send to the ESC also to offset our bill. In that case, we would keep that in-house, and it would be part of that state funding and federal funding there, that 380 there.
So there's
So
some,
that 20,000 is part of the 380 in both.
No, is above, but I don't believe so, Mrs. Stroke. I didn't include it because I wasn't quite sure
Oh.
how that money had been.
but it would be on
targeted.
both ends anyway, right?
Yeah, it would be
That's
on
another
both
one of
ends
those.
anyway.
So
It's
you can just
offset
make the
both
380
sides.
400.
Yeah,
Correct.
On both of them.
yeah, on both of them.
How many students do we service currently? Because that's not reflected either.
At the ESC,
Because it's hard to compare like what we have versus what we're going to when you only have more detail on what we would be going to, when I can't really
It's the
assess
same,
what we
it'd be
have.
the same amount of students, just transferring it over. The difference that they don't, because they don't have general education, if you look down below, I have listed here off to the right, there's 18 students in the general education classrooms. So if we were to have one, you'd have 18 students, obviously 2 would be 36. And then the models for preschool vary depending on what the typical peer versus the special needs ratios.
But your executive summary says this expansion would serve more
Yep.
students.
Yep.
So,
The
but then
two
you
general
just
education.
said that's the same amount of students in
Yeah.
both.
No, the general education is the 36, or the 36 students more. The others would be, they have 4 classrooms. We
Yeah,
are-
so that's my question is, how many students would we service? How many students are we servicing?
It would be the same, but go ahead.
36 more than
Yeah.
what is being serviced at the
Correct.
current ESC.
And how many students are we servicing at the current E ESC?
We have 4 classrooms of 8 and 8, so it's 8, typical
16
peers
times
and 8 special ed students.
32.
64?
60. And
About
then this
that.
would be
I was gonna say about
100.
70, so that's about right. But as I was sharing with the models, you have some options. So right now, as Mrs. Zeman said, it's 8 and 8, but it could be 8 and 4 typical peers with 8 special needs students, and I think 6 and 6. It used to be. I'm going back to my principal days, but there are options that the state allows for. But right now, you're saying that we do 8 and 8. Yeah. And this is also contingent upon certainly the amount of students we enroll. So I can tell you, every year as a principal, I had 5 preschool classrooms in my building. And every year, like, they would come to me concerned because we were bursting out of the seams. Like, it just depends. It's hard to predict because they're coming to us from home, so we don't have that information. So even like right now, they came to us last year, and there was a concern that they were going to go over, and there are some really hard decisions to make in there. You know, how are we going to service them because we don't have space, or we might have to open up another classroom. That happens every year, regardless of whether it's our program or their program. So there's just some things that I want to caution us on. So the reason I say that is because, like in the situation we got in my previous life, we had to hire an itinerant, which is a teacher who goes into, and they have it now, and we don't have it listed on here, but I want to say that because it's a possibility that we'd have to add one, and that person goes into the homes or the preschools and does services in their settings. There's a number of students that benefit from that. So that's a cost that could be on here. The other thing that we didn't account for is there's any kind of attrition or things that happen with teachers, moving around or through retirements, that potentially could be offset.
You did account for that because you put general ed 2 as attrition and didn't add
For
that
the
to the
parapro,
cost.
for the parapro. I didn't do it for the
We
teachers.
were very conservative, we
Yeah.
just chose one position, we think there could be more,
But we don't know.
we don't wanna count that.
The reason I also want to say the disclaimer that the reason we're doing this is not, it's a bonus and it would be great to save money, but we feel we can offer more, especially, so even though the cost might be around the same, or it might be a little less, it might be a little more, I want to be transparent about that, but we'll also be servicing to general education, up to, if we have the need, to general education, 36 students in preschool that we weren't before, for the same cost or in or around that, so. I don't want to mislead the board, these are certainly estimates, and there are factors that can pop up.
I'm not sure exactly, because they do it by days, but we had 9,109 days. So of all the students, that's how many days they attended last school year, the preschool program.
And what are we basing this general education teacher wage off of? Because we don't. Do we have pre-K in our negotiated agreement that we could confidently say this is in there? Or is that something that we're gonna have to go back and set a salary table for pre-K teachers?
Well, there are ways we can look at it. So many districts, because it's a pre-K 3 license, they're treated as a regular teacher. There are other districts that have, require 2-year degrees, for example, for teachers, and then there's a pay scale that's less. More than likely, we'd be having that conversation with Mrs. Carlisle.
So we don't necessarily know that these are the numbers we would be
You
paying.
base
That is BA 0 with family benefits. And all the other benefits that would be, Medicare, retirement that we pay for next year. So on the 24-25 salary schedule.
And then which administrator would oversee this if we're not hiring someone to administrate this program?
We have a couple ideas. Certainly, Mr. Lazar would be definitely involved in the program because it's special needs students, and we were clear about that when we were hiring the pre-K 5. I think it's even on the job description, pre-K 5 special education coordinator, as well as it's not unusual in models that I've done before that the school psychologist, we will be posting a position, so we will be looking for someone with preschool experience, so that person can also assume a lot of the day-to-day step up to quality, all of those requirements, and be able to provide the services and testing, et cetera, that comes with the special needs
Our
students.
school psychologists are not administrators. They used to be administrators, but they aren't anymore.
Yep. So the
So-
principal of record, or there's not an administrator there now every day. In fact, how many days is she there, like 1 day a week?
Yeah, I'm not sure how often she's there.
Not often.
She rotates through all the different preschool settings that the ESC supports, so, we can find that out, but it's not.
It's not
daily, that's for
required,
sure.
which is interesting.
There's like a ratio of days that they
Yeah.
need to be there. I feel like it was maybe 25%.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think being able to offer a pathway to more preschool is a good thing, but I just before I would be comfortable going forward with that. To me, there's a lot of unanswered questions. So I think preschool is a great thing. I'm not against preschool and expanding opportunities. I just would need to know more.
Yeah, and
I would need to know a lot. Personally, I would need to know a lot more information before I would feel comfortable moving forward with it.
Yeah, and if you can give those questions to us, we'll be happy to provide the answers. We went back and forth. We have a whole lot more information that we can give you. We just didn't want to overwhelm or inundate. We wanted to propose the idea, the big picture, and can certainly get into finer details if, should you choose, or any particular questions, we'll be happy to answer for you.
Could you possibly talk about the reducing the need for future interventions and preparing students for academic success?
Yeah,
And
so,
ensuring that equitable access. What are we missing now that we don't have with ESC? What would we do?
I think what I noticed just here for a brief period of time, and so I would certainly defer to others who've been here longer, is when the preschool is connected specifically to our school, we start building those relationships a lot sooner. And so then we get to know our families and know what their needs are. And we also find that the transition from preschool to kindergarten is much smoother. It's a more seamless transition. We're trying to take two organizations who might have different approaches to that, and also the communication lapses that just happen because people are busy. Whereas when all that's under one roof, you're going to have increased communication and probably more seamless services for students. So I think that is a key piece that seems to be a challenge at times.
and to address, so this is really old data, because I've been far removed from my research, but when I was doing my dissertation, part of my dissertation, I started out on the path of looking at achievement gaps between minority and low socioeconomic students versus non. And so I did my whole lit review, and then I changed paths. But, and I don't think the evidence has changed too much, but the achievement gaps are created in some instances at birth, and they just widen the older that they get. So the earlier intervention that we can get to them, the better chance that our students have at success. So preschool shows that students they really do better. Like if you compare the CRAWs, what we give in kindergarten, if you look at those test results compared to like those that were in a structured preschool environment versus those that were either in daycare or at home, there's generally clear evidence that students score better and do better, and they retain that for a few years. Now I will tell you, there's some research that'll tell you that they don't always sustain it in the long term, but it certainly helps build a strong foundation for early learning. Is that what you were going at, Mrs. White?
Yeah, thank you. I just, again, what are they doing that we would do, I guess, better academically for them? And is it not the academics so much as the relationships and that?
Relationships, and
Okay.
I would also say professional development.
Okay.
So I think if we're working on standards and writing and those types of goals, then our preschool teachers would be part of that process, right? Now, they have to have very defined professional learning based on their own requirements with Step Up for Quality, but we can kind of build a larger umbrella over our faculty development that we just cannot influence now. Plus, you're part of the hiring process, and you can also ensure that you're hiring folks. Not to say that someone isn't doing well, but I'm just saying it's always a positive that we can kind of work in-house and what we believe people best fit culture.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions. Well, first is just a clarification. So what we're currently doing is having the classroom with disability and typical peer together. So we're keeping that and then adding two typical classrooms. Is that what you said?
One or two, depending on
One or
based
two.
on interest, and we'll know that with the registration and surveys and.
And then the tuition, the proposal of the tuition, the slide, and then consider like sorry, consider a sliding scale and fee waivers for eligible families. The fee waivers would be, are those grants, or is that just something that is,
We would forego,
be-
yeah, so those are options we have. So, and we didn't mention the rate, but $480 on 180, I think it was for the two. And we tried to, again, be
is that
considerably
school
under.
hours? Or is
Yeah,
that,
yes, yeah, well, I don't know, like 8:30 to 3:30 or whatever those hours are, but yeah, it'd be the same as a school day.
But it's not an extended day, like you would
Yeah.
have, like an after-school programming, or like, folks that maybe go to
And
work
would
like
busing
7
be
to 6,
included
it
in
would
that?
be that
Pardon
kind
me?
of-
and busing is included in that?
Busing is not included in preschool. It's just students, I should clarify, you're right, thank you, students with disabilities, yes, not the typical, not
Okay.
general education.
Can I add on to that question? Because some of these programs, and I don't want to name any specific program, but some of these do private busing. So that's gonna hurt us in terms of competition. Not that I'm saying I want to take on additional costs, but just, that's
I honestly, I don't think busing would make or break, if someone, I mean, maybe with certain families, but I don't, honestly, I have, some experience with some preschools, and it's tough out there, it's tough out
Yeah.
there.
It's a good question to
Yeah.
ask. I mean, transportation always comes up, and districts don't, not many of them have general education, what I'm noticing in this area. But those that do, and in my previous experience, parents would get their kids there. I mean, they manage for whatever reason, but I'm sure it's not a great situation for others who do need it.
I think busing obviously was very much appreciated for people, but.
Yeah.
My other question is, you said you kind of looked at other local areas that did preschool, and I know some of our very local districts do some preschool. Do they do, typical classrooms as well, or is it combined?
Yep, some do and some don't. Yep,
Okay.
So it really with, I have a spreadsheet, and when you look at it, it's hard to make sense of it, I'll just be honest, because
It's the Wild West of preschool.
It is. Everyone has a different program. Some might have extended daycare, some may not. Some might just have a preschool program. Some might be 4 days, some might be 5 days, some might be half-day program, some might have a full-day program. It's very hard to compare apples to apples when it comes to preschool. I didn't think it was gonna be like that until I developed the spreadsheet.
And
I was
most of
like,
the
"Oh my."
schools, and I think I asked you this before, but most of the school programs are step up to quality.
Absolutely, yeah.
And with the changes, do you think that is going to make it easier to be star rated than?
Well, yes, for private and public. A lot of public school district preschools are typically gonna be a 5-star rating.
Okay.
Just because of what we have in our institution to support, right, to support learning. So many things are just part of what we do. But this will also help expand private preschool and daycare opportunities. I know that's one of the governor's goals that he's spoken of recently. And so Step Up for Quality is a way to kind of expand that and provide more services in general.
I'm very critical of that step up to quality program personally,
It
but I've
is-
seen a lot of
it is
5-star,
rigorous.
recently, a lot of 5-star programs popping up, so.
The smaller daycares that don't have licensed teachers are really at a disadvantage, frankly. There are a lot of 1-stars out there for that reason, because they don't pay licensed certified teachers. So that does
We're moving towards
pay.
a different rating. It's not, it's gold, silver, and bronze. Yeah, I believe.
Well,
So they're
that'll be
changing the
interesting.
rating
Okay.
system too. Because everything's coming under, I think, children and youth
Yep.
development, whereas this used to be kind of a separate pathway under the Department of Education, now under ODPW. A lot of these services are coming under one umbrella, so there is quite a bit of transition here that we would navigate. But we're very lucky to have so many
Mr. Harris, were you going to ask something? I thought I heard you.
No, I was just curious, and I think it was mentioned, the tuition price that we have here, as a parent struggling to find affordable childcare. We have, what was that based on? Is that based on some of the, from local centers and?
Some of the more public preschool
Okay.
programs and their sliding scales, and then, and Dr. Sligo's had more experience. I have not had a preschool program in my 34 years. Parma actually had their own preschool, had an entire building, and also had extended daycare. And it was a very full, robust program, but because it wasn't housed at an elementary school, I really didn't participate in that, so.
Is this a pack your own lunch type? This isn't a. we don't
Actually, they
provide-
can qualify, lunch program can be treated the same as your school age. Yep.
Well, and if it's at
Or free
Schnee,
lunch.
I think that that actually qualifies for free lunch overnight.
And, you know, ideally, so we didn't talk about location, I'm sure you're all operating under the assumption that it would be Shanae, and it would, because licensing is one struggle, so you have, if we put it, ideally, if I had a magic wand, I'd put, a preschool in every elementary school, but we're not able to do that. So, licensing is prohibitive, and we don't have space, so there's many things, but, you know, if we ever get to our plan B of new elementaries, certainly something we can look into,
We
but
paid a lot of money to retrofit that building to be able to host preschool.
which building?
Schnee. Just recently, we put a lot of
Oh,
money
you
into
said
that
you
building.
put, I thought you said we'd have to.
No,
Yes,
we
we
did.
did.
We already
And the
did
preschool
just
wing is
recently.
very nice. It's, the rooms are small, so that's the only drawback. I've been in them several times, and there are
Oh, it says
many
Schnee at our
stringent requirements,
paper.
as you know, with preschool.
It says Schnee on the paper.
Yeah, oh, it does, okay, I
Yeah.
couldn't remember if we put that on there,
It
but,
does.
we didn't say it, I'm sorry, but,
Yeah, it's on the paper.
yeah, so that's where we intend to keep it. It's still, again, the rooms are in good condition. Yeah, just small, but they fit, barely.
I think along with, you know, the benefits that have been mentioned here, being able to connect those families with resources a year early too is, I mean, a big benefit and plays into the success of our families and the education of their students, so.
It's just there, we miss communication. We may not hear about a student, and then the way we find out is through EMIS reporting about a student, and then we're trying to kind of close those gaps. So, if they're part of us, you know, all of those things, we can better communicate. And our elementary principals will sometimes share that they don't always have enough information about a child that's starting kindergarten. So if we were able to, you know, provide that service under our umbrella, you know, I think those transitions would go a little bit smoother. And it's not the ESC's fault, it's just the nature of, you know, two different institutions trying to communicate and go about daily business, and oh, by the way, you know, sharing information. So, everyone has good intentions, for sure.
It's no different than if a family is transferring from another district and they've got a child that needs special services, things are gonna get missed sometimes.
Yeah.
Are the students that are currently at the preschool are residents in Cuyahoga Falls?
If you are considering a sliding scale and fee waivers for eligible families, what percentage of the tuition do you think it would be reasonable to reduce from this proposal so we can get to a more accurate presentation of the figures?
I mean, I don't know if you have an opinion, whatever we're willing to forego as a district, I guess, cause we, you know, we factored it into to this. There are sliding scales out there that exist, we have it and certainly can share it with you. there's some that, it doesn't bring in a whole lot of money with some of those sliding scales that are out there.
And I have a follow-up question on too.
This is the worst
and-
setup.
Sorry.
Hi.
And
This
then,
is
and I know the setup is.
I know
hard.
my neck, I'm gonna have a neck ache by the
Sorry.
end of this.
So, and then the numbers, what we, the proposal, what potentially would be the money that would come in with tuition versus the cost, that's kind of like what the maximum we could bring in. And as we know, people sometimes, people get sick, they take vacations, they don't come in, and with preschool and daycare and those types of things, people don't, they're paying for a spot at the facility, not necessarily
yes.
the days that they use. And so, would there be like some sort of policy where you have to attend a certain number of days or something like that?
Well,
Because-
and those are questions that we'd have to answer, and I think I put that on here, because, as a parent of a little one, I've paid a whole lot of money for days that my kid was sick that one year, of 30 days out of illness, and we had to pay every day. We had to pay like over winter breaks. It was, I don't intend to do that.
And that's how
you know.
preschool and daycare, I mean.
Yeah, it is. It's how it
Your
works.
first year of preschool, you're paying to be homesick. I mean,
know.
you're paying to get some immunities.
Yeah, so
I mean,
that's the challenge, but you raise an interesting point, because if we said just pay for the days you're here, well then, what if I just wanna
You
come one
can't
day a week?
guarantee
Yeah.
How much, what your input is gonna be.
Yeah, now where we could anticipate is, let's say we're on winter break, we wouldn't charge them for those days. In fact, the figures that you see on this paper, I did it by number of days, if you notice. Like, we're in session 176 days or whatever, that's what I used, I just put that as a number. And also, I underestimated, because I put, for the typical peers, I just put 4 typical peers. I did half of what they currently do. It doesn't make a whole lot of money, but you can add another 23,000 in there if you went to the 8 and 8 model. But I was just anticipating, some parents just want a 2-day a week for their children and ease them in, that kind of thing, so.
Would we be able to accommodate a part-time, or would that be something you could accommodate a part-time slot? Cause the full-time, there's full-time openings, would you be able to accommodate part-time slots?
So they would go in as a typical peer for the half-day programs. Those are half-day programs, and they're 4 days a week. But,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, sometimes, and again, I'm not, here we fill the
You said
spots.
2 days, sorry.
No, I will tell you, in my previous life, we could not fill typical peer spots. Like, we couldn't find, so we would allow people, they wanted to come 1 day or 2 days a week, we allowed it, because we couldn't fill the spots. Couldn't find people to go in it.
What is the secretary/nurse at 56,000?
So rather than having a secretary and a nurse, like currently, there's not a nurse there now, is there? I've been there, I've never, there's no nurse there now. There is a secretary, so that person would just be a dual function. I took the same cost, cause paraprofessionals are paid around the same rate as secretaries, so we just use that rate.
So, but we're hiring a nurse?
No, it would be a person who would serve as both secretary/nurse.
Well, they would not be a nurse. What functions
Health
would they
aide.
perform?
Well, what do they do now? Cause that's what they do. We can get you more information on that. It's basic stuff.
Well, our
And if
school
there's more
nurses
intense,
our school nurses aren't nurses.
Well, it depends on the
At
buildings,
high school, that's correct.
and the rates that we pay, cause I don't know if this would be covered by our Akron Children's
yeah.
contract, and that's a whole different
That is, yeah.
conversation.
Yeah,
But we do
correct.
have more registered nurses on that contract this year than ever before. And we pay at the nurse rate for substitutes.
It would probably be more like
That's true.
Yeah.
the RN, that maybe serves one of our smaller elementary schools can oversee when it comes to medical plans and teaching the medical plan for students. So I've seen that where the day-to-day kind of support is more of an assistant type role, but not an RN type or a school nurse role.
So that needs to be upped at our, whatever the ACH contract rate is for a nurse assistant, that's what that needs to be.
But
Because that's what we were just told that's gonna be.
What do you mean? You were just told.
If it's gonna be overseen by the ACH people, it's gonna be then it's gonna have to be added to the ACH contract.
Duties and responsibilities to our current coordinator, district
Yeah.
nurse, if you will, that could potentially, and the rates that you're talking about, stagnant
Yeah.
for a couple of years. But at this point, through this model, you could potentially have the district nurse overseeing that program as part of her role and responsibilities. I'm not 100% sure what that cost would look like, but it would probably be pretty low in terms of, just that oversight, because, that person would then be responsible for the help and assistance on identifying students, ETR planning and those types of things. And so if you did we won't call it a nurse, but we did the secretary slash, health support model, it's no different than having a medical assistant who is, a generally trained individual to provide the help and support at the building.
But would that person also provide secretary services is the question. And then how do we get that budget?
Yes.
Cause I know fellow board members, I harp on the numbers, but the fact of the matter is, when you look at the budget in full, we have an excruciatingly tight budget. So I wanna provide preschool, but we have to be very honest about making sure that what the financial things that are presented to us are accurate. Cause right now it shows the savings, but we have to ask these questions and get it as accurate as possible, because if it ends up costing more, then that money's gotta come from somewhere. And then next year we might have to ask the people in our community for more money. And you know as well as I do, they're probably not gonna vote for that. So then where are we gonna go? We already know what we'd have to do, and we don't wanna do that either. So it's nice to have new opportunities, and I want new opportunities, but we have to be very cautious and realistic about the financial realities that we are living in.
I will say right now, that cost that we pay the ESC is very unpredictable. I mean, when I first got here, it was $700,000. It's, over 1.2 million now. And I don't necessarily have any way of knowing, because it's part of a consortium, and my gut feeling is that we're kind of carrying the weight of the consortium. It's very difficult, and it always has been. This is not just my experience here, this is my experience in a previous district where we also took it back in-house from Summit ESC, and there's been some changeover, like in treasurers and things there, and they've done a little bit better job of getting us, but we have a conversation with them, I feel like, every year about, okay, let us seed the list, we need to see a list of students, because we need to double check that what we have is what you have, and that we're paying the right amount, and where's the backup for all these costs, and, what if so-and-so district says, well, we wanna add 2 more aides? Well, now we're all sharing that kind of cost, and we don't really get a say in that. Or if, just depending on what they do, if they wanna open a new classroom, it kind of gets split. That has been my frustration on the non-educational part of it, for many years, is not being able to get the data to really validate, like, that why is it 1.2? And they will eventually get us something, but it's never a complete picture of exactly what is going on in that program, and that has always made me a little hesitant in general, just because that's not how I operate when I'm looking at things, and we've asked, and we've asked multiple times, and different people have asked, and I still don't feel like we're getting exactly what we need to be getting for that amount of cost. Like this year, I have no idea if that is gonna be 1.5. I only estimate like a little bit more usually each year than the year before. Could be less. Or it could,
So it's fluctuated both ways per year,
usually it's up.
or usually it's,
Yeah, usually it's up. They did start, which is a little helpful. They used to just do it one time a year, if you remember. And now they kind of give us a midway point, and charge us half in January, and then true it up, like at the end of the year, like in July, but even that varies at times. I mean, your costs vary, so that daily rate varies, the number of students, whether you get more kids in, or how many withdrew, or what's going on has been, I mean, it's just kind of a roll of the dice.
So is our daily rate changing based on what other
Every,
people in the
everybody's
consortium?
daily rate is the same. So
But does it, but based on if another
Yes.
district
So it's the
decides
cost
they
of
are
everybody.
less thrifty with their preschool,
So it's the
Then our-
cost of
our rates go
everybody together. So all the staff, because some of the staff also rotate, to different programs and things like that. So it is the total cost of, I don't know how many there is, but let's just say there's 6. And it's all the costs for all the staff, all that, whatever it is. And then by the entire number of student days between all those districts, and you get a daily rate, and then you look at each individual
Okay, I see.
district and
Okay.
take off their, okay, you have like a rental fee for the classrooms that we're using, we don't have to provide that stuff. You give us this grant, all of that kind of stuff, and then, how many student days are attributed to you times that cost, per day, that is the same for all 6 districts.
I have a question about the tuition rates. Is that prorated, like or would we charge like September through May? Like would be 9 months on the per month? Would that be like,
Well, I just did that for sake of like, it's just easier to do months. It really isn't. It's easier to look at it by day, which is why I kind of broke it down off to the right. Because it's really, you want to look at the amount of days. So if we have 2 days for like Thanksgiving week, you might just charge the 2 days,
Okay.
like that kind of thing.
and then the other question about tuition is the peers that attend now, are they charged tuition?
Just learned this today, Ms. Stoikoi.
They are charged tuition by the ESC.
By the ESC? Do you know how much that is?
It is, I do,
And that would be the half-day program, so we'd want to compare it to,
I don't think you gave that to me.
we'd want to compare it to the $9 a day rate, or $180 a month.
1,500 a year.
$1,500 a year. So we would actually, do we know how that breaks down? Because my 180 times 9 months is 1620, but
Yeah.
that's
Well, we could do
probably
it
a
this
little bit of an overage based on the per day rate.
I could
I
probably-
don't want to say we're charging more because it's probably not accurate at the end.
And they
Do they go 176 days over there?
I don't.
It's almost about the same, but I think a little bit more, what we're suggesting. Yeah. 860,
So we'd be charging a little bit more.
40 cents more a day. If all things are 176.
That's a good perspective piece.
And that's actually, I'll be very honest with you, I guessed it, that one was pretty close. But I based it off of like, if we went 480 for the month, and I prorated it based on
I
the
think,
half days.
that's why having apples to apples information help, because when you think, if you were thinking 180 is too much or not, or weren't thinking that, but when you compare it to what they're paying now, and it's basically the same,
So yeah,
you can't
Yep.
really make an argument.
yep.
I really like the idea of the preschool too, although I think Mr. Gomez is correct. We do have to, I'm not good with numbers, but he is, and Christie is. But we do have to look at that to see how it would fit in the budget to make sure. And the other one concern I have, we know the research says that, lower income, or minority kids do well with preschool. And that's been proven for years. So I'm glad, but when you have a mom that's on welfare, say, or maybe a single parent, dad or mom, $120 a week or $480 a month. How do they do that? I wouldn't have been able to on what I got years ago, but I would not have been able to. I don't know. That's what concerns me. It's those kids we really want to reach, but then they can't afford it. So is there, like, I know you said something about the reduced payment. Are there grants that families, I don't know. And that's,
The sliding scale is based on the poverty rate.
yes.
So right, so we could do the sliding scale.
We could share that with them. And Friday, we'll give it to you on Friday's report. You could get an idea. It'll show you. Because there's actually a point where people pay $0.
Because that's, I think where the need is the greatest. And yet, if they're not taking advantage because they can't afford it, that's a shame.
You're gonna pay that for a babysitter too.
They can't babysit. I mean, I never did.
Well, there are
Mom,
people that
Dad,
don't
but, you
enter
know,
the workforce
I just
because
didn't.
the
That's
cost
true.
of childcare is
Exactly.
more expensive to
Right.
them than what they would make
Right. I mean, yeah.
at a
so,
job, so.
Yeah. And it's a very expensive. I know
It's
I had to.
$35 a day.
I don't know, but a long time ago, I got $360 a month and $212 in food stamps a month, and that was for 4 of us. I couldn't work. I couldn't. Now, luckily, I had my parents that helped me tremendously. Babysitting, you know, I didn't have a car. I had to walk. But, you know, again, I couldn't afford anything. And thank God I had my parents, you know, because they supported us. And eventually I did get the Pell Grant and went back to school and got my college degree finished. So that was a big help. But it were, you know, and I don't know what it is today, what they get. This was years and years ago, when I had to go on it. I didn't get child support, so that's another story.
Well,
But at any rate.
People will turn down raises because it'll push them out of that
That's-
ability to get those benefits, but it's not enough to bridge the gap to what they need. But
Right.
just a little
Yeah.
shout out to the Summit County Department of Job and Family Services actually has a program for people that are getting JFS benefits that get stuck in that, to try to get them to take that promotion, and then they help them bridge the gap. And also through financial literacy, but through economic benefits as well, and bridging the gap. So
Well,
there's a
yeah.
really great program here, specifically in Summit County. We're trailblazers with that program. So just
It's good things. I mean, I was very lucky that I had my mom and dad that helped. They bought all the paper products and things like that food stamps does not. And then my landlords, thank you, lowered my rent. And when do you ever hear
Never.
that? And they lowered it because they knew what had happened and they helped me. And it was just wonderful because I don't think they had the programs. Luckily, I did find out about the Pell Grant. And I scuttled back to school as soon as I could because I knew that would be my way out, and it was. So, yeah, I just worry that we won't hit those kids that probably need it the most. That's
Can I
my
ask a
concern.
question? And I was thinking about that too. That reminds
Sure.
me too. I know some daycares and some preschools can take, and I can't think of what it is because I'm not great at this part, but it's a title funding for low-income families for
That's a good question.
daycares and preschools. And I think you have to be SEPTA quality certified to accept it.
I'm familiar with what you're saying, but I don't remember the title number.
I can't remember the title number,
And maybe it's something we could look into
and
or something.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember which title
I
it
have a
is.
friend that ran a daycare, and
Yeah.
she had a little machine, and they'd come in and swipe her, the machine,
Yeah.
clock in, basically clocking in and clocking out, and then that's how she would receive her
Well,
payment.
I mean, we've dealt with vouchers in the past in my
It's not a
previous
voucher though,
places,
it's,
and they would do something similar. It was a card.
I don't know, just throwing it out there to look
Because
at.
vouchers is an option. I didn't even
Yeah.
think of. I didn't even talk to the treasurer about it either. But there's
My-
some of those.
My personal last question is, the survey that you're talking about doing, because we're talking about how do we reach these people, how would we do this survey? Because we know there are, certainly within our system, there are people that would have preschool age people, but a lot of the people that we need to reach are those families that have their first child that we've never had in our system yet. So
Yep.
what are our strategies to reach those
Yeah,
families?
we talked about it. We'd rely heavily, honestly, on our elementary parents who have younger siblings. I mean, that would be your broadest audience. It's hard to, you can't go into other preschools and, say, hey, can we give this? Libraries, YMCA, because some of them, like YMCA has their own program, but like library, are there other programs in the city that service 3 and 4-year-olds or something that, would allow us to do that, that's not competing for the same services? But yeah, it's not gonna be incredibly accurate. And the other piece is we can offer it and it's conditional upon enrollment, so if it's just one class that we get, it's one class, we have control over that, but you wouldn't wanna, we wouldn't put that on parents last minute and say, oh, no, we can't, we don't have enough people. We'd have to make some decisions, based off of that.
I think tying into more community resources would be effective, as well as maybe linking up with good neighbors, because oftentimes when people have young children, they find themselves needing assistance. I know we have that connection with Pantry on the Corner. Maybe if they
Yeah.
would throw something in,
Some of the churches.
Things like that. Yeah, the churches that don't have preschools,
Yep.
but like just putting stuff in the bags of food as well are good ways to reach out to people. We often find, people cash strapped when they have young children because it's very expensive to have young children. So knowing that there's this potential opportunity with a sliding scale would help reach some of these people that we would most want to reach.
Because when you look at tuition compared to the overall cost, it is a very small amount. So, sometimes tuition's about making a commitment to come, right, and being there. So, it's not going to make or break a program, tuition. So, there's certainly opportunities to kind of look at that sliding scale and consider those options.
Any more questions, comments? Thank you. Takes us to item E, Treasurer CFO's Business Consent Agenda. Ms. Stoikoi.
Yeah. I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve all items listed in the treasurer's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have the minutes from October 9th, and then our donations from our generous donors.
Yes, we have a handful here, some familiar faces, Ben Curtis, the Foundation Alumni Association, and a few others, First Christian Church, Institute of Education Science, but always welcome those and are thankful for those.
Any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Thank you. That brings us to item F, Treasurer CFO's Business. Mrs. Stoikoi.
Yeah. I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve the September 2024 investment schedule and monthly spending report.
So moved.
Second.
Comments, Ms. Stoikoi?
We'll take a look at the interest. Best month so far this year. As you know, though, this is when our cash balances are a little bit higher, as we've received at the end of September all of our second half real estate for the year, and some other things, and then obviously our all of our construction accounts. So another good month. General fund. Was a positive result of operations this month, so that puts us at up about $1 million, so a little under 19 million to end September. We will see next month a little bit of a anomaly, I should say. The insurance consortium, as you know, because of how much we had to raise our rates along with everybody else in the consortium, we have some cash flow issues there. And so what we agreed to do was double pay October and then take the month of June off so that he didn't have to keep begging for money to pay claims or to take a hit by pulling some things out of investments early. So all the districts did that. And so next month that will be reflected. But then you'll see in June, we will not be making a payment to offset that double payment. So we just paid a little bit technically in advance there. But I just want to forewarn you about that going forward. And then you can also see in the athletic account that we kind of got back to where we're supposed to be. I had told you in August reports. And then we did some corrections of things, still cleaning up a little bit, but obviously that took a almost $35,000 swing there for them. Still got a few home games that were not part of this that will be in there. So we're doing okay there. So other than that, everything is really kind of status quo.
A question about my nemesis, the Huntington sweep account. Why did they give us interest only in August?
I don't know.
You were not here last month, so I couldn't ask you.
That's a good question.
You know
I was
her.
as shocked as you to see that when I opened the bank that day.
I mean, I'm grateful for it, but you know that they just enraged me.
I am going to. I was kind of waiting to
Okay.
see what September went, and
And it went back to
reach out.
0.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was,
thank you.
a little random.
I mean, we'll take that
Yeah.
1581,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it was
this whole
interesting. I was
we
like,
froze
we're
it for
gonna start getting
COVID. Like it's
Yeah.
2024. Not that COVID isn't still out there, but like
I will tell you, we don't keep a lot
I
of
know, but
cash in the Huntington account just because
Of
it
that.
doesn't.
but they could
earn-
still give us something.
Right, they could give us some pennies. That's right. Something. I will follow up with them. Yeah, I was
They-
kind of
yeah.
waiting to see what happened in September/October, but September was a no-go.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Brings us to item 2, Treasurer CFO's comments.
I do not have it this evening.
And I believe we're excusing you
Oh, I can do the next roll call if you want.
to go over to Woodridge. Her daughter is competing there.
All right.
Well, 7. They were the second game tonight against Woodbridge. Thank you.
And Ms. Coco will take the rest of the minutes for you.
I'll make sure to put what time we adjourn. And if I want to ask.
Sorry. Well, there's no executive session,
No,
so I
so
can
be
look
easy.
at the video in case you don't.
Enjoy being a mom. Thank you. Item G, Superintendent CO's business consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve all items listed in the superintendent's consent agenda.
So moved.
Discussion?
Some routine items, relative to personnel, paraprofessionals. We also have some extra duty supplementals there, listed there. And then we have the resolution for the athletic league change, which is a little bit of big news, that's a little oxymoron. Big news that, we have been accepted into the Metro Athletic, Conference. And so we need to pass a resolution just, to make that official. We are very excited. I've spoken to a lot of different people. The districts are welcoming us. They're excited. Our students and
We wanted Ms.
Staff are welcome.
Stoykoy to leave so that we could talk about how we're gonna beat field a lot.
that's right.
When we're in this new league in the future, we didn't want her to be able to rebut those comments.
Yeah, and then, and just for clarification, it's not for next year, it's for the following year. Yep.
You're taking all of my athletic meeting notes. Thank you.
That's the big
You
news,
don't
I
have
know.
to
I
be sorry.
stole
Thank
the
you.
thunder.
Questions or comments from the board? So I had several people come up to me Friday at the football game and comment on this because there was that article in the Beacon. They were very excited about it, and
Yeah.
they said, "When's the board voting?" I said, "We're voting Wednesday." quite confident it's gonna pass, so, that people were excited about this. So, our thanks to Mr. Johnson, who I know did a lot of work to
Yes,
make this
he
happen.
did.
He sure did.
Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco? Aye. Mr. Gomez?
Aye. That brings us to item H, Superintendent CO's comments. Dr. Selko.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. As you all are aware, I've been seeing a lot of you these last several days because we had a lot going on in the district. Friday night was a whirlwind for Auden and I. We made our rounds to 4 or 5 different events on Friday night. So we were at DeWitt, we were at Quirk, we were at the game, we were at DQ, and I don't know, everywhere else. But we were able to accomplish a lot that Friday night. And then Saturday, really impressively, and I'm happy to eat my words. I was hesitant on this tour idea about the timing of it and how it was going to be arranged, but once we did the open house idea, I became much more comfortable. And then after seeing people's excitement and just the comments, it were just off the charts positive. And appreciate the work of Christine and Hammond. They worked really closely together to provide a really structured tour, and I was very pleased that people got to see a lot of the building. As I walked it myself, I hadn't seen the balcony in the auditorium, so that was kind of cool for my first time to see that. I've seen much of the other spaces, but just super excited. I want to thank them for their hard work. Hammond really did a nice job with that. And then last night we were here for the safety meeting. I want to again thank Special Agent Durker and Ben Gesford and Christine, as well as Officer Davis. I sent them little notes today to thank them for coming because they've come during the day for our assemblies and given of their time, as did Judge Coates and Kolkovich, prosecuting attorney. So we were just very happy that they've done that, and I think it was well received. Parents afterwards thanked us for doing it and thought it was very helpful. So appreciate that. It will be on our website soon once we can clean it up and make it presentable for our families so they can also be able to view it. And then we had our so Monday night was the strategic plan, the final one for the community session. We had several people here. I met with Mr. Ferguson, Jeff today, and we have a plan. I'll have an update for you on Friday, so I'll spare you the time tonight, but you'll have an update on Friday's report. And then next week coming up, we have there's a fall concert on Monday night. There's the Tiger Bowl on Tuesday night, and then the One More Time concert on Halloween night. So I'm going to tell you now, I will not be there, unfortunately. Yeah, I looked at that date and I said this has to be a mistake, but I don't know. They chose Halloween night, so.
It's always the Thursday
Yes, we
following the
can't
last
break
home
tradition.
game.
So I'm sorry, I will not be at that one. But that is it.
In Cuyahoga Falls, we celebrate Halloween the last Saturday.
Yes, that's true.
October from 6 to 8.
Yes, that is true.
We do.
So it's really maybe not as a big deal for Cuyahoga Falls people, but I don't think my little one will be happy with me.
Except the mayor's neighborhood, they trick or treat on Halloween night. So,
Yeah, I gotta give one night at home. That'll be it, Halloween.
but we're looking forward to Mr. Alder's report on the tour because he stood on the 3rd floor and asked everyone what they would change if they could change anything about what they saw.
He did? Oh, good one, Mr. Alder. And I heard you guys left him there till 12:30. No one told him to leave.
I wasn't in charge of that, but we're interested to hear what that feedback
Okay, yeah, that'll be interesting.
Probably mostly the colors is probably what people say.
Oh, then I don't know who picked him. You'll have to take it up with that person.
Provide a district email for those individuals to ask those questions of the individual responsible for the color scheme.
Listen, there aren't many options. It's not like they give you a blank palette, right, Mr. Hutch? True?
I have no comment on color, I know my
Yep,
place.
see?
Was the first floor green that's located in the
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
The sixth grade green.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little different. I wish they gave us a blank palette. There would be different choices, but they don't. They honestly give us very few, and Mr. Hutch can attest, very few options of color schemes, and so you don't get a blank palette.
I will say, Dr. Telko has overridden some other choices to make what we have the best it can be.
Thank you so much. Yeah, there were some.
Thank you. That brings us to item I, board business. Number 1's organizational chart. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the organization chart for the Cuyahoga Falls City School District.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Selka?
Yeah, we typically would do this at the beginning of the year. However, this is also built into policy. But since we're in flux with our policies, and it's gonna be a little while yet, we decided that we would go ahead and approve the organizational chart now, because the one that's in policy is outdated. And it's something we have to change every year, which is not the best.
Any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco? Aye. Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Thank you. Number 2 is an out-of-state field trip for the interactive marketing and design class. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the out-of-state field trip for the interactive marketing and design class.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer? Aye. Mrs. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco? Aye. Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Number 3 is a policy rescission. It's recommended the Board of Education rescinds the following policy: protection for reporting safety and fraud violations.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? I just want to say, it's not that we're not protecting people for reporting safety and fraud violations. I just want to be very clear, because it sounds bad that we're rescinding this policy. The state of Ohio, through the auditor's office, changed the process for this based on a change in state law. So in our policy adoption, the next piece will adopt a new policy, but this policy needs rescinded as it's out of date based on state law. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you for saying that, though.
Yeah. Please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco? Aye. Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Item 4, policy adoption. It's recommended Board of Education approves following policies. Section A, foundations and basic commitments. ACC, political commitments. Section B, school board governance and operations. BDDG, minutes. Section D, fiscal management. DGC, bidding requirements. DM, deposit of public funds, cash collection points. Section E, support services. EBBA, first aid. EBCE, protection for reporting safety and fraud violations, whistleblowers. EBCEE, acknowledgement of receipt of auditor of state fraud reporting. System information. EBCR, protection for reporting safety and fraud violations, whistleblowers. EDE, computer online services, acceptable use and internet safety. EDEC, artificial intelligence. EHC, cybersecurity. Section G, personnel. GCD, professional staff hiring. GDC, GDCA, GDD, support staff recruiting, posting of vacancies, hiring. Section I, instruction. IC, ICA, school year, school calendar. IGAH, IGAI, family life education, sex education. IGD, co-curricular and extracurricular activities. IGDJ, interscholastic athletics. IKF, graduation requirements. Section J, student. JECBC, admission of students from non-chartered or home education. JED, student absences and excuses. JEDA, truancy. JEDC, religious expression days. JFCK, use of cell phones and electronic communication devices by students. JHG, reporting child abuse and mandatory training.
So moved.
Who's second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco? Aye. Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Number 5, future agenda items. Are any future agenda items come before the board at this time? Our next meeting, we have our 5-year forecast. Is there another presentation?
Well, I don't normally chime in because this is your meeting, but I do have 2 things that are coming up.
Okay.
One is the tennis courts. The mayor and Sarah have confirmed that they can come on the 6th, if that's possible. And then also, in speaking with Jeff, he needs, and it'll be in your Friday notes, as I said, so you guys, if you could please give me feedback on what your preference of approach is from Jeff on how he gives you the results. But he was anticipating coming maybe the 6th or 20th as well of November. So you can look at that. There are some approaches you can take or schedule a special board meeting for it. So those were the, if you could just give me feedback, I don't need it now, but he needs to know for his calendar. But those are the two items that I foresee.
Do you know how long?
The strategic plan, he said about 20 minutes, unless, so there's, since you're asking now, there's two approaches. One, no, it's okay, you can dig, he said either before the board meeting, like half an hour before, it would be a session, of course, but, that he could like have you hands-on dig into the data, or if you just trust his judgment on like, not that he doesn't prefer either way, but if you would just like him to present an overview of the data, he can do that in a board meeting in like 20 minutes.
Well, I think we already said we would like to see all the data, but we would trust, I thought the cabinet was gonna amalgamate it.
Yeah.
We said we'd like to see it all, but we would trust your amalgamation. Is this different
That's
then?
fair. No, that's fair. I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure, I didn't want, I know we discussed that, I just wanna make
Yeah.
sure you're still okay with that
I
approach.
think we're okay with that, cause it's,
Okay.
then we still get to see it all.
Yep, he'll give it to you.
But then you guys were gonna amalgamate it. So if we felt like, that's wild, that's not what we thought, we could say that, but I
Yeah,
don't think we felt like that would be the case.
He suggested that he would go through it and, again, come up with the big themes, ideas, share them with you, and then bring them back to cabinet after you all have had a chance to see it and give
Okay,
input. So
that's-
he recommends that approach, which is fine with us if, so, but he will share with you the breakdown. And I asked him to show you the number of people who attended, what groups, attended, and et cetera. So, okay, and
The
then, so
5-year
I guess it would be one of those dates, if you
I
don't
would say the
mind.
5-year forecast, we're just trying to budget the meeting time. That's probably 45 minutes.
November sixth is the library.
Yeah, I wanna get back to that. And
Okay.
Can we put a pin in that for a second?
Yeah.
I've got that, I promised you.
Got it.
But I have an idea for that. So 5-year forecast, like 45 minutes. Jeff Ferguson, if he's saying 20 minutes, we're gonna have a lot of questions, cause it's the strategic plan.
Yeah.
It's one of the key,
We're gonna have,
it's key work of the board, so like, that's gonna be at least 40 minutes. Are we expecting like a lot of action on the board, next board agenda?
I don't think so.
And then tennis courts, I think is gonna be, like, cause my thing about the tennis courts is that we have the Parks and Recs superintendent coming. I wouldn't wanna just talk about the one sport that they oversee. I'd wanna talk about tennis, softball, baseball, and swimming. Because if we have her coming to a meeting, all 4 of those sports are sports that we have had in the past a very good partnership with them about, and have had issues which have only grown in the past few years. So I'd wanna talk about all of those athletic programs if we have the Parks and Rec superintendent here. And I've already,
As long as I give her, some guidance on maybe what the topics would be, I can ask her certainly to, if she could address all of them.
because, I mean, when you look at the baseball field, I know there's been a lot of issues there. Now the baseball coach is trying to get somebody to do something with that. So there's a lot going on with all these programs, the diving program, the frustrations we have with that. So if we have her coming, I'd wanna talk about all of the programs we have partnerships. So I understand the need to make a decision about tennis specifically, but she doesn't come often.
Well, if that's, I would suggest then, and certainly, maybe if we do her and the mayor on the November 6th, maybe the 20th becomes the strategic plan? Does that make sense? We're still okay if we're in November, end of November, based on the timeline we're trying to adhere to for strategic plan, which is a draft to everybody by January.
I
Like a
think having all
pre-sale.
3 of those in one meeting is gonna make it a very long and heavy meeting.
Yeah.
And
So Jeff would be on the 20th? I'm just gonna make note of that if that's the case.
That's fine for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then
Just
I
a
will let
reminder,
Sarah
all
know.
city choir is on November 6th.
Wait, November
6th. So we probably won't get to go to that, but just for parking purposes, be cognizant.
All City Choir is what?
November 6th.
November 6th.
And it starts earlier, it's a 6:30 time instead of 7.
And then library board. If we only have the one applicant and it's the person we know, as of right now, we have one applicant, it's the person reapplying. If that remains the case, are we okay foregoing the interview process and just putting it on as a vote?
I would say yes.
Okay, yeah, that was gonna be my suggestion.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we get another person, we'll go through the interview process and I'll work with Mr. Jones, we'll get that all set up. But for the purpose of, if this is the only person, they're reapplying for the purpose of being efficient.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Agreed.
Okay. Anything else? Committee report, 612 construction core team is White.
We do not meet, we'll be meeting, next month. And just to mention the tour, which I was gonna mention under my comments, so I'm not sure which way to go there, but maybe I'll save them for the comments.
Do you wanna talk about it now? Cause then we could talk about the tour together as a group.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's better.
Yeah, we'll talk about it like as a group.
Under,
No,
now?
yeah.
Okay, fine. At any rate, I wasn't sure which way to go. But yeah, we were all excited for the tour. It was amazing. We got to see all the painting and some of the ceiling and the flooring all in, and it was just really well done, the tour. It was just, I don't know, it's so exciting to see the inside and how much is getting done. And I really enjoyed it, although I didn't enjoy walking so much, but well, I don't have an ACL on my left knee, so it does bother me a little bit. But at any rate, it was fun, it was good. I think there were maybe 12, 15 planning committee members there, or is that too many? I'm not sure, but it was a good amount of planning committee people that came and toured with us, so I thought it went really well.
You know, Ms. White, you know, they were able to answer all the questions too.
Yeah.
And I asked a ton of questions. I know you asked a bunch of questions and they were just so pleasant and
Yes.
ready to answer the questions. They did not seem annoyed at all with me.
They're not, they never are.
Yeah, I asked a ton of questions.
Even when I bug them to get done a couple months, they don't get
Yeah.
mad, they just kind of smile.
Yeah, I was very appreciative of that.
Yeah, they're very good. Hammond is excellent.
Yeah, I attended the Friday tour and then I came back Saturday and I was there from 10:45 to like 12:15. And I think we had they printed 500 maps and they ran out early. So I think we had somewhere in 750 to 1,000 range of people come through. So it was a great turnout. And the people from Hammond kept saying, there's a lot of people that turned out. Lucas Goller brought his fiance and he walked her around.
Oh, it's his
gave her-
wife now.
Wife? I
Yep,
didn't
they
know
got
if they were
married.
married yet. And he was showing her, so that was really cute. And then I had one mom from Price who said she was really nervous about the separation between the middle school and high school, so I didn't know her before this day, but I walked her through and kind of explained it to her and explained the middle school pods to her, and she said she's been so anxious about it, but now she feels confident to send her daughter there. So that's a really good victory, and I share that with Dr. Salko because I think making a video of that separation and explaining like where's in particular sixth grader, like here's the high school door, here's the sixth grade door, and like what the pods are. Like there's enough there now that we could kind of have something ready for our parents, you know, maybe in a month's time or stuff, and help them start to understand that and kind of assuage that anxiety that we know has been out in the community about that middle school, high school combination and how separated those core learning spaces are. And then the other thing I want to give a shout out to Hammond about is that at the end, like near noon, some of our food service workers were there, and of course, that area was not on the tour because we know that piece down in the basement's one of the last pieces they've been working on. But Lucas was there and he was talking to them. They said that they work in the cafeteria, so he walked them down there because he was like, they came, they took the time to come, and so I want to show them their space. And that just, I think, really speaks to the people at Hammond and how they go above and beyond. And so just wanted to give them a shout out because that really is kind of who they are as a company.
And there were so many people that came for the tour, but the building is so large, you didn't realize how many people were in the building at one time.
It's huge.
And I think Ms. Stewart posted a picture on our Facebook page of probably when they opened the doors.
They were lined up.
People lined
Yeah,
up,
they
people
were.
coming in, but everyone was kind of smiling and laughing. It was like Black Friday for like the 6 through 12 building. It was, but I loved that picture because everyone was excited to get in. But it was so many people, but you didn't feel crowded in there at all. At all. Yeah. It was. I also went Saturday morning. Also, I went Friday with the planning committee, and then I went in a hoodie and incognito on Saturday morning to go through a second time. That was very exciting. Very excited. We got ourselves a butte.
It's something, it really is. Was anybody making like a video of our tours? Any of the,
Hammond's, and, TDA's comms people were there, but I think,
They just
Tim
took
was so
pictures.
busy kind of
Okay.
organizing it. I think Mark got some footage, but I don't know if he got video footage or not.
okay. I just wondered, I meant to ask about that before because I was thinking of people that couldn't be there.
I brought my camera, but I
I
was so
know.
busy
Oh, yeah.
talking to everybody, I
Right.
didn't get a chance
And
to
I
take too many
totally
photos.
slipped my mind to ask.
Yeah.
Because it would have probably been Good Friday, you know, because there weren't as many, but I totally didn't even, and I apologize for that.
Athletics and Activity Council, Ms. Coco.
Yes, we met this past Monday, was the first meeting of the year, and was a recap of the fall sports. Our last football game is an away game this Friday at Barberton for the season. Our volleyball, they finished tied for 7th in the league. Boys soccer finished 7th in the league. Their playoff game is actually going on right now at Kent State. And if they were to win that, then district final would be on Saturday against Walsh. Girls soccer finished tied 7th. Boys cross country finished 6th in the Suburban League. But Wyatt Albrecht last Saturday broke the school record and they're really thinking he's going to make it to state. So congratulations to Wyatt and everyone on the team. Girls cross country finished 6th. Boys golf finished 8th. Girls tennis finished 5th in the league. Michael Ozamek, did I say that right? His last name? The coach, weight room coordinator, he was there and was talking about their weight room program and everything they're doing there. And it's really impressive, and the passion he has for these athletes and, the progress that has been made since he's been there and part of the program. And he said that the most involved students in that program are the freshmen, and they're hungry, and he's really looking as they progress up that this is gonna make a huge difference for them. When he started, there were 33 students that were committed to the weight training program and were consistently there, and they're up to 291 students. So, there, and you can tell why by listening to him speak, why these students are so connected and involved, and just passionate about it because he is. So, a great asset to our sports. Our winter sports that are coming up, I'm really excited to see the girls wrestling program this year. They have 10 to 12 girls right now that are going to be on the team. And then, of course, we have basketball, bowling, wrestling, swimming, diving, and cheerleading. And then he spoke about the Metro Athletic Conference. I know Dr. Selico spoke about it a little bit. It would be starting in the 26-27 school year. and would be Cloverleaf, Cuyahoga Falls, Field, Kent, Roosevelt, Norton, Ravenna, Springfield, Streetsboro, Talmadge, and Woodridge. So we would have an in-city rivalry going with Woodridge, which is kind of cool. There's cheaper official fees. We are also able to charge middle school admission. It's what they do in that league, which we don't currently do, which would help too. But there are cheaper league dues as well. So there's a lot of benefits to us being in this league, and I'm excited for the change, and everyone seems very excited for this change. So that's it.
Thank you. Mrs. Schaefer, anything on wellness or financial advisory?
Nope.
Okay. Anything on legislative, Mr. Harris? Anything on student achievement, Ms. White?
Yes, I attended the gifted meeting, and some of the notes, we went over, kind of how the middle school was revamped and things that we've already done, and then we added new testing data, hired the gifted intervention specialist, which led our meeting, and we continue to tweak the placement criteria and the rigor of classes. Some of the current needs that we looked at, elementary, how to identify and serve science and social studies. The COGAT in Iowa, how to explain purpose and interpretation of the results there. The PD on closing the gap for gifted. More PD for teachers focused on SEL, and maybe tie that into TBT with our schools. And then more enrichment opportunities. We talked about the Reading and Writing Festival. Power of the Pen was added, which those two I participated in when I taught at Bolick and loved them both. Dobama Theater Residency, this is really exciting for the middle school. Singer-songwriter, Roots of American Music and Stop the Hate essay contest, and that again is for middle school. The 24 math contest coming in December, and Young Authors Elementary School. The high school, we are looking at having the counselors be more proactive in checking, making checklists to ensure that the program, would be managed better. Naviance, I don't know if we still, I know we did use that at one time, but I don't think we do anymore.
School links.
I'm sorry? Okay, school leagues instead. More differentiation in non-honors track classes, and maybe provide guidance to teachers to facilitate this differentiation, because we know a lot of the kids that should be in AP or whatever that are not always. They're in those general ed, or maybe they don't want to take all AP and stress out. So, we're going to find a lot of, or not a lot maybe, but at least some in the regular gen. So how do you differentiate? Apply success criteria to gifted learners and serve through differentiation. More opportunities for taking ACT, PSAT, and SAT. And then more transparency for parents for understanding WEPs and WOPs and the placement options, and then more recognition of gifted students. Maybe having an awards night or somehow recognizing those gifted kids. I know we do this at commencement where we do the grade point averages and have the students stand and so on. But that's just at the end of the year. I don't know if there's something more maybe we could do. And I think, I think that was about all we talked about. I mean, it was quite a bit. And we will be meeting quarterly from now on, so.
I have one question about what I heard, because it talked about the AP, but the AP has that cost factor associated
Yes.
because they have to pay for the test. Was there discussion also about promoting CCP courses?
We didn't, but that is a good.
Because those are free for
Yeah.
students.
I don't
and
think we
get the college
did.
credit as
Yeah.
long as they stay at Ohio
Exactly.
Public University.
Exactly, and we did not talk about that as much.
Ohio
We
Public
did
University.
want to have the high school counselors assist in those requirements and checking into, that might help the management of it, but I don't think we actually did what you're saying, but that's a good idea.
Well, and especially now with University of Akron in particular, their expanded free tuition for students. I know some students don't want to take CCP because perhaps they're looking into an out-of-state or private university that might not honor their CCP credits. You know, there's all these catch-22s with everything in the world. But if we know that a lot of our students who go to college go to Akron or Kent, those are both state universities, with Akron offering this new free pathway that a lot of our families, knowing our demographics, would benefit from. CCP is becoming even more of a good option for them because Akron will honor those. So we're paying for it, but it's still free, challenging courses for these kids through our system, and then they could potentially go to Akron for free as well.
Yeah.
So
I will, I have that on my notes.
free degrees did not exist when I went to college.
No,
So
it didn't
we have
when I
kids
was there.
that's a good pathway for them, and if we can get them to a free degree, let's make that happen.
Known as Valgo is collecting the syllabus for students who are identified as gifted and attending CCP. But it's a relationship with the student to give that to us. But we are trying to build more connections there so that we can show they're being served through the CCP program, which is another way to kind of promote that. So that is something she's trying this year. So
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Brings us to number 7, comments. Mr. Harris.
Yeah, I was unable to make it to the community tour, but what was said tonight, I was not surprised by what I saw on social media afterwards, all the pictures, so many folks excited. So Ms. Stewart Hammond, just fantastic job there. I just want to, anyone listening, parents, students, just be careful out there trick-or-treating. It's coming up. It's going to be getting dark. Just be careful. Have fun, but just be careful. And then for all the folks 18 and older, Election Day is coming up November 5th. Please do not miss an opportunity to have your voice heard. Make sure you get out there to the polls and exercise that right to vote.
Thank you. Mrs. Schaefer.
I want to talk about the building tour one more time. As you could probably tell, I'm very excited about the new building. But, I asked a lot of questions about the auditorium because, you know, as a youth, and I spent a lot of time in the auditorium, both my children have spent a lot of time in the auditorium. And then we're building this auditorium. And so I saw a lot of people coming in and out of the auditorium, asking a lot of questions also. And I heard them kind of get excited about the auditorium, and it kind of made me a little bit more excited about it. And I let myself actually feel the excitement for the auditorium, because I don't know if you guys know this, but sometimes I get more excited than I sound excited, but there is more levels to that excitement. So, but it was,
I thought you were going to say, I didn't know if you knew this about me, but sometimes I get excited about our music program.
sometimes I get excited about the music program. Our theater was state of the art. Back in the 90s, our theater was state of the art. And it's really, I'm just so excited for us to have these new digs for our music program. And it's gonna be, you're still laughing. I'm like just beyond excited for this opportunity for these students in this program. And then walking through the building, these new classrooms and new opportunities for different ways to learn. I'm just overjoyed for this opportunity that the community has allowed for our students. It is overwhelming. I'm very excited. So.
Did you want to advocate for the expanded tunnel that'll be needed for the?
I know. Unfortunately, though, the tunnel that we currently have is just not long enough. The inflatable tunnel for our new stadium, it will need to be longer for the band to get through.
Because at the new stadium, because with the track, it won't be long enough it'll be very underwhelming. So it does need an extension. So you know how the
We might need
Tiger
3
head says
extensions.
Cuyahoga Falls? We actually need an extension that says Black Tigers. And we may have been influenced by the marching band director to carry this message.
So noted. Got it.
So what happens when I show up at a football game. I
Yeah.
start getting
Yeah.
lobbied by the
Oh,
community.
my.
But speaking of that football game, it was the Stars and Stripes show at halftime, and that flag is impressive. It is impressive. I did not count how many people it took to hold that flag, but this year our low brass section is out of this world. They're so loud and they're so on point. It's so good. So, great show for Stars and Stripes. Bring a tear to your eye. Good show.
I got to see a video of them at Ohio State, and that was awesome because they didn't even need speakers or anything at Ohio. They were loud enough you could hear them. So that was cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh, are you done?
Sure.
I
yeah.
jumped in there.
No, you're good.
I'm glad you're excited.
Well, I am.
Yeah.
My kids were in band and choir and all that too.
Yeah.
Still have one in band if he, whatever. I'm just excited for the tour. I'm excited for this building. I
It's
can
very
see
exciting.
how it's going to be more collaborative learning and things like that. I almost cry every time I go in there. You know, I didn't this time. Because I was so excited, and then was like hurting at the end there. But you know, but it's just something. Everybody go by and just drive by it. You can't imagine. It's huge, and it just is so beautiful. And I think everybody will love it. I think the staff, the kids that get to go there will just really appreciate all the work and all the time it took us to get this done. And it's just really exciting. Thank you, Hammond, for the tour. There was somebody, and I also wanted to jump back onto Mr. Harris. You're 18 or older, get out there and vote. It's Dharma. I know everybody hears of karma. What goes around comes around. But Dharma is another term, and I love that because that stands for duty. And that's what your right to vote, that's a duty, not just a right, but a duty. And you need to take that seriously, get out there and vote, share your voice. Thank you. And I forgot my article, so I don't have one. Oh, I know, Ally's like,
But you did mention the Buckeye Invitational, and that's very prestigious because I believe
is.
it's only 44 bands statewide that were invited to perform at that, and our band was one of them. So it is very prestigious that our band was invited to participate in
because
that.
they're great.
Yes. Ms. Coco.
Yes, I was not able to attend. I was very sick this weekend. I'm still on the way, still trying to recover fully. But I did connect with a lot of the parents that went and to ask them and get feedback on how the tour was, and it was all very positive. And just thank you to Christine and Hammond and everyone for putting it together. And it was nice to get to share with some of my friends who are parents just a little bit of the joy that, you know, we've been in the building, we've seen it, and you try to describe it, but you really can't. So for them to be able to go in and see everything, and that it was 5 years ago at this time that we were fighting for that bond passage and on pins and needles, and wondering if this was really going to happen. And I last week shared a picture with Dr. Sellicote. There was a day that it rained really, and there was a rainbow, and there's, I can send it to you guys if you want, but it's actually the rainbow, and there were clouds, but the sun and the rainbow in this picture are directly over the 6 through 12 campus. And it was just a very cool picture that I shared. The only other thing that I wanted to share tonight, and there was a parent whose son is gifted, and I reached out and asked if it was okay if I shared part of a social media post that she had posted last week. So I'm not going to mention names just to protect privacy, but I thought it was worth sharing. She said in her post, "I'm beyond thankful for the CFCSD Gifted Committee, Assistant Superintendent Kathy Fisher, Board of Education Superintendent Julie DeDones, Mrs. Sowdery, and Tamara Belko. This year, her child is taking high school algebra. He's currently in middle school honors ELA, and he switched to to a different instrument and band that he loves. And she said, "I'm forever grateful to the people who believed in my child, even when I started to buckle. I owe those people my eternal gratitude for getting me through that." And then she finished with saying, "The committee saw the importance of gifted education and brought in gifted experts to help create these pathways. I'm beyond grateful for them. You see my child and you want to meet his needs." And so I just wanted to share that. That's why I think all of us do what we do, and we need to share those stories and successes. And it's one student at a time that we're making a difference. So just want to share.
Thank you, Ms. Coca. I'm up last, as I shared, I was at the building tours. I got to walk my parents and my nephews around the building, so that was just really exciting because, you know, as everybody up here knows, your family journeys with you as you're on the school board. So to get to share the inside of the building with them was really a special moment as well. And my nephews were so excited. But they were so obsessed because they looked on the map and they saw something called the black box.
Oh, yeah.
And they just really wanted to know what that was. And so when they found it, they're like, "It's really a box and it's all black." And so they really thought that was their highlight personally as elementary school students. But it was just really special to get to with the community as a whole and answer their questions and get to share about our vision for what education can be and will be in this new building, but in particular to get to share that with my family as well. And then as well, I attended the football game on Friday night. While the score doesn't always show the hard work that our team puts in, it's still great to be surrounded by our community at those events and just get to chit chat with people and share our pride in our community and our Black Tiger pride together. And then last evening, several of us on the board attended the safety meeting as well. And a lot of great information. Not that I don't know our safety initiatives, but it's nice to sit there and hear it be presented in that way and to our families and shared out. And even though a lot of people don't show up, the people that want that information have the opportunity to show up. And I think that's important sometimes too. It's not that we didn't fill the auditorium, it's that the people that needed that information and wanted that information had an opportunity to come out and receive that information and feel better about sending their children to school every day. So I appreciate all the hard work that goes into making those nights happen. And that brings us to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco? Aye. Mr. Gomez?
Aye, we're adjourned at 8:14.
Writing it down.
Oh, Sarah coming in, I meant to ask, I didn't want to belabor it. Can I put them as the first presentation as the mayor?